Next I wanted to talk about food. So there's a lot of different options for food that you have when you're building your kits. So excuse me, there's a few things that I wanted to look at first of all. So first thing that you're going to know, if you buy a pre-made kit, a lot of them will come with something like this, which is emergency rations, Datrex emergency rations, blah blah blah. They have a bunch of calories in them, and they're just basically like little sweet cakes. And there's a ton of them in the package, you know, just stacks of them. And that's what, and they're hard as a rock. And yeah, you can live off them if you're at sea or something, but clearly this isn't something that you're going to want to eat when you're stressed or you're tired or something like that. Keep it as a backup maybe, but don't use this as your main source, I would say. Your other two options, and the two that I use the most, are going to be MREs, which have their own pros and cons, and then you have your freeze-dried foods, which also have pros and cons. So for the MREs, pros being they're light, they're nutrient dense in that they'll give you a lot of calories to live off of. If you take them out of the little box they come in, you can stack them, you know, 5, 6 high, stack them in a suitcase, stack them wherever in your bag at the bottom. I use these in all three kits. There are MREs just because they're light and they'll do the job. Best part is some of them taste pretty good. Beef stew is pretty good. They're just really, really salty. They're like 200% of your daily sodium or something like that. So keep that in mind. Make sure to have some water around. You can eat them cold and they're okay. If you warm them up, they're better, obviously. And you can warm them in like a little sodium heater, which some of them come with. You just add water, creates an exothermic reaction, and then heats it up. Put them outside. I mean, clearly not too long. Put on, you know, something that's hot. This is actually pretty thick plastic because it's military, so it can last through a lot. But these are a little expensive as well. So if you get a stack of, sometimes you can find them online for cheaper, but 10 of them maybe will run you more than $25, probably, something like that. So that's an option. Frozen food, or freeze-dried food rather. This is the brand I like, Mountain House. These are actually really tasty, and they're not that bad for you as far as the ingredients go. It's a little high on the sodium, but it's got your fiber, you still get some protein out of it, and it's easy. You just add boiling water to it, seal it back up, and then that's it. And you let it sit for 10-15 minutes, you come back to it, eat it, it's good. So this will actually serve, how many is this? This is 2.5 servings. When you fold this up, it'll last for decades. As long as no moisture gets in there, these are really good. Space-wise, they're super light. They can get a little pricey depending on what you actually get. For instance, these little packs here, I think are $5.95 a piece. But these are more like 10, 11, but you have like a ridiculous amount of servings. This is 12 servings, 12 half cup servings, and I got like some dessert flavors, not for me, but just it's kind of like a comfort measure. I think this is it right here, maybe. It's not, you know, something you want to live off of forever, but it is pretty good. And it'll make you feel better. One of the things about food that we don't realize is that it depends a lot on the kind of food that A, you normally eat, and B, you want to eat in an emergency. So you want to make sure that it has something, you know, comfort food related, something sweet, some chocolate, candy, something that's also nutritious. Like you can do fruit. They have like dried fruit that you can reconstitute and give you some vitamins and things like that. But again, it's all about where you're planning for. I keep some of these for our bug-in kit, for the earthquake kit, and all it requires is water. Boiling helps, but if not, you know, do what you can. These are for mostly the kits you got to carry because it's light, and then these are just because they're easy. So just some things to think about if you decide that that's where you want to go. Clearly, canned goods you can keep at home, but don't stock a bunch of stuff in your kits because they're unnecessarily heavy. Yeah, they're cheap, but most of them you need a can opener. They're heavy, they can spoil, blah blah. Take up a bunch of room. You could fit 10 of these in the spot where you take 2 cans. So it's just really not worth it. So just a few things to think about. If I think of any other types of food that you could bring, that's pretty much the only kind that we have in all of our kits, earthquake and otherwise. So just keep that in mind. If I think of anything else, I'll do a different video on it.